Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Basali, your orthopedics faculty with Marrow, and with me I have Dr. Manisha ma'am and Dr. Rohan sir going to address today's session. So, hi ma'am, hi sir.
Hello, students.
Hi, Abbas.
This is a very crucial period of your time, the exams on your head. So, here we are with you to let you know how you can make the best use of this time to achieve your goals.
Right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Rohan, and thank you, Dr. Abbas, for welcoming us for this session. I think so. It's a very important session because there's been a lot of chatter regarding whether NEET or Next is going to be there, regarding how to prepare for the exam. So, in this session, we are going to address all your queries. I hope you can see the presentation. So, firstly, before we start, let us be very clear that our audience, which we are addressing in this session, is primarily those who are preparing for the INI-CET November exam, for the NEET PG exam whenever it happens next year, and for the INI-CET mid-year exam next year. That's our target audience. For any other audience which is attending the session, if we get time towards the end, we will address your queries. But this is the prime audience which we are addressing in this session. Abbas sir, over to you.
Yeah, so like Dr. Rohan sir said, please do not try to ask any questions for any other issue or concern that you may have right now with Marrow or in terms of preparation. We are primarily going to address only these three group of students because this is a very important period of time for them. So we have the rough timeline here for your exam dates that are going to come up soon. INI set is going to come somewhere around November 13th this year. And then you have the unexpected date of NEET PG 2023. But going with what we have right now, we are assuming that it is somewhere late in January, right, sir?
Yeah,
So we are
23rd.
assuming it to be January end. That is what we are assuming. But if the way the counseling is going, it might get postponed further. But if I were a student, I would prepare with mid-January in mind, at most third week of January. That would be my target date.
Yeah, and we will keep that as our end goal for the whole strategy that we are going to discuss because there is no point in planning a strategy when you do not have an end goal because that becomes unnecessary and excessive. So let's keep mid January, like Dr. Rohan sir said, as the end goal for our NEET PG aspirants. Now, it can be NEET PG, it can be next PG, that is all irrelevant to us right now. What matters to us is that the exam will be somewhere at the end of January.
And
Now, sir,
any
can you?
time that we get extra will be a bonus time that you have. So,
Absolutely.
that is the time that we have to keep in mind.
Okay, sir. Can you proceed and help us understand how to go about preparing for NEET PG 2023 if I am a student who has used Marrow 5 and I'm worried what to do with Marrow 6 in hand right now?
So, first of all, about next PG, whether next PG is going to happen or not, I think so. Everyone is clueless. A lot of RTIs have been filed, and the latest verdict is that it might get delayed. But again, I would like to re-emphasize that whether it is NEET PG or next PG, the curriculum, the syllabus remains the same. Questions are going to be asked from the same subjects. So your goal should be to read the subjects thoroughly. Okay. And if you're a final year and if you're anticipating if next comes in, try to finish all the final year subjects at least in final year thoroughly so that you are reasonably prepared for next PG. Again, we don't have any further information regarding this. Now, for those who are preparing for INI-CET or NEET PG, so first NEET PG timelines, these are the timelines which we think are very reasonable, that everyone we think should push themselves and try to finish their course by INI-CET in November so that you leave yourself at least a couple of months for revision. If not INI-CET November, latest by mid-December, so that you at least have 1 month to revise. Okay, revision is very important. So you have to leave yourself adequate time to revise. That is the key. If you don't revise, it is very difficult that you'll get a good rank.
So essentially,
Those
what sir is telling is to end your preparation, whatever your modes of preparation are, to end it 1 month before the exam, latest by mid December. That's the end point for everyone using any source for your preparation right now.
So similarly for INI-CET, try to finish the course by mid-October so that you leave yourself 1 month to revise. And in that 1 month, so this is the key which I want to emphasize on. In that 1 month when you're revising, you just should focus on the commonly asked topics in INI-CET. And we'll tell you how to make a list of these commonly asked topics as we discuss further in this session. But in the last 1 month, only commonly asked topics and questions of INI-CET, that should be the key when you are revising for INI-CET. Moving on to the first most important question, and this I think so Dr. Abbas will take this forward and address this very common question which we've been getting from students.
Yeah, so this is a question that has been bothering most of the students ever since the launch of Marrow 6. They have been using Marrow 5, and now they are worried whether they should continue using it and should proceed with Marrow 6, or what to go about doing in terms of not missing out on the recent updates that are there in Marrow 6. Now, please understand, the first thing you need to do is stay away from FOMO, and every teacher has kept on telling you this again and again. New things will keep coming. The strategy for preparing for an exam doesn't necessarily depend on reading new things whenever they come out. You can update your information, but your stock knowledge, your base knowledge always has to be there, over which you're adding new information. Don't run after new information without your base knowledge. Now, whether you use Marrow 5, Marrow 6, Marrow 3, doesn't matter. The base knowledge remains the same. And so if you have been a person who has used Marrow 5, please continue to do so, because the base knowledge in Marrow 5 remains the same, and that is going to give you the maximum number of marks and MCQ on your exam. But also at the same time, to get that extra edge, to get that extra set of marks on your exam, you should know the latest things that the teachers have taught you and the examiners have asked you on your exam. For that, we suggest that you use the revision videos from Marrow Edition 6 and also the MCQ discussion videos, which are going to come out very soon from Edition 6, to update your base knowledge that you have made with Marrow 5. Everything that we have updated in Edition 6 that is relevant for your exam will be included and is included in those revision videos and MCQ discussion videos. So rest assured, you're not missing out on anything. Now, whenever you watch these revision videos and do the MCQ discussion videos, take those new points and the relevant information from those videos and add them to your base notes of Marrow 5 that you have been preparing over the years, or you have used the Marrow notes, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you just add the information there. So it is handy for your revision before the exam. Keep doing the question bank, because question bank is fluid across all the editions of Marrow. So it keeps automatically updating and you're getting the latest set of questions. You don't have to worry about Marrow 6 versus Marrow 5 question bank. The question bank is the updated one for every one of you. Do grand tests every month, because these grand tests have been strategically seeded with new kind of questions that have been asked on your exam, with the new information that we feel is relevant for your exam. And also keep revising, because like sir said, the end point should be INI set November or mid-December latest, and after that it should be full revision mode. Don't unnecessarily give more time for first reading just out of the fear of a FOMO that you would usually have. So I think this is the approach that you should have. If you have been using Marrow 5, continue with Marrow 5, update your information with Edition 6 MCQ videos and revision videos. Do question bank, finish it off quickly, and continue giving your grand test at least once or twice a month. What do you think, sir?
I think so. That's a very reasonable strategy which you have highlighted for them. And this is probably the main question which a lot of students have been asking. And the key is the first line, that you need to stay away from FOMO. So you need to understand that medicine is an ever evolving branch and updates would keep on coming. And we need to highlight those updates for subsequent batches as well. Now, there are other ways where we are highlighting those updates for you as well. So we have revised the main videos, and in some of the subjects, the revision and the addition has been much more than others. But all the faculty members have made a conscious effort to include these updates in the revision videos and in the MCQ discussion videos, which are going to be released soon. So even if you don't see the main videos of edition 6, And if you just see the MCQ discussion and the revision videos, that would take care of all the updates which you need to know in edition 6. So that's a very simple advice. So don't get bothered because of that. Just continue studying, and as and when these videos keep on getting released, just watch them and update your knowledge.
Yes, what you read from one place, if you read it again and again from the same place, it gives you a photographic memory of that thing, and that makes revision very easy. You will be able to revise the same thing in very little time, and you will also be able to retain it much better. So no need, no use of shifting to any other mode. Follow your primary source.
So if you have edition 6 and plan C for preparation, if you have previous notes, how to approach these people who are using edition 6, and if you already have previous notes, say of edition 5, or if you've attended some other coaching in the past and you have their notes, what you need to do is you need to revise your notes. You need to do your revision and MCQ videos from edition 6. And very important thing, and this is my humble request to everyone, that you need to write down this list of important topics or commonly asked topics. So the only way to do it is either you have a very trustworthy senior who can lend you this sheet or lend you this list, right, and you have complete faith in them, or what you need to do is you need to watch all 19 subject videos at 2x speed and just note down the topics from which questions are being asked. If you have this list handy with you, it will be very easy for you to revise in the last 1 month as well. So please, spend a day and a half making this list for all 19 subjects, because it's going to be extremely useful in future, in the coming months as well. Now, if you already have read previous notes, then your focus should be mainly on the Q bank, and you should be solving Q banks on a regular basis and custom modules with moderate difficulty and various permutations, combinations which make you ready for the exam. Now, one more query which we are getting, which Manisha ma'am is going to address, is that if you're starting afresh, you recently purchased Marrow edition 6 and you're starting afresh. Ma'am, over to you, please.
Okay, so now students, ultimately what you need to remember is that where are we right now? See, estimated exam date is on 23rd of Jan, right? Approximately that time. So which means that, as sir has already addressed, that the last 20 days we have to keep for the final revision, and 1.5 months we have to keep before that for another revision, which gives us the time of around only 2.5 months that we will be having right now. So whatever you are preparing, whether you are preparing afresh, whether you are preparing from edition 5 you have already read, or you have prepared from edition 6, you have 2.5 months right now to finish at whatever level of preparation you are. You have to wind up, you have to wrap up everything in 2.5 months. That is around mid of November. That is INI CT. After that, you will take one revision, and after that will be the final revision. Please don't extend this time, because ultimately it does not matter how much you have read. Please remember this always, always, that what will matter in the exams is how much you remember. And how much you remember depends on, yes, on your concepts, but also very, very importantly on how much you have revised, whether you've revised it or not. So now in the 2.5 months that you have, what are the options that you have? Now, if you are through with most of the videos, wonderful. But if you feel that you are still left with some of the videos of the major subjects which give you a lot of weightage in the exams, which are a lot of questions coming in the exam, for that you can just go for the intern mode. Now, what is that intern mode? In the intern mode, some modules have been replaced with question bank. And yes, it has been done very, very thoughtfully. All the modules which have concept building in them have been left behind. Only those which you can answer with the basic concepts have been replaced by questions, and that is going to reduce your number of hours to do the entire subject tremendously. So you can do the intern mode. Now, just in case if you feel that you have just 2.5 months left, and for some short subjects, you do not have that much time to go for the intern mode also. In that case, you can go just for the revision videos and the MCQ videos. The revision videos and MCQ videos, all of you have to do, whether you have completed all the videos, whether you're going for the intern mode, or if you do not have time for any subject in, see, ultimately you cannot leave any subject. It is better to do 70% of every subject rather than leaving 100% total some subjects and doing 100% of some subjects. You never know that which will take you higher in this exam, which questions will be easier. So it is always better that do all the subjects. So you have to pick and choose. Everything is in house. If you have less time, just go for the revision videos along with the MCQ discussion, or if you have time, go for the proper videos, if, or you can just go for the intern mode, but do all the subjects. And whenever you are doing all the subjects in this 2.5 months, you have to finish the, you have to wrap up everything. Now in this time, what you can do is, when you're giving some time to one subject, divide the time right now itself into the time that you will be giving in that particular subject for the notes, and the time that you will be giving for questions. Otherwise, you will just go on reading notes, and the urge to just finish the notes is so much that you will hardly be left any time for questions, and that will be totally catastrophic, because questions is what you're ultimately going to answer. So 60% of the time you give, in any allotted time that you have allotted for a subject, give 60% of the time for notes or videos, and 40% of the time for MCQs. And in the MCQs, what are the MCQs that you cannot miss? The bookmarked MCQs. The bookmarked MCQs that you have bookmarked, this is the time that you have to start removing the bookmarks. You have to do MCQs from the high yield topics. Previous year questions, yes, 3 to 4 years previous year questions is a must. And all these questions you can do very easily, very effectively by using the custom module. So for every subject also you can use the custom module, and every time whenever you are taking out time for MCQs, this is one feedback, one review that all the toppers have shared, that they always took out some time from the MCQ time for doing the custom modules, where they selected all the subjects of moderate difficulty level. Now what this will do is, this will exactly give you the outline how your exam, in the exam all the subjects are going to ask. So it will tune your mind, and also it will make you feel that you are revising all the subjects from the beginning itself. So wherever you are, follow this, and don't, not even half a day you can extend to the other subject if your time is over. That will give you a lot of confidence. Once you stop one subject, the next subject you will find that there is so much to read in that subject also. So it was good that at least you're through with one subject. So what do you think, Dr. Rohan, Dr. Abbas?
No, absolutely, ma'am. And as ma'am mentioned about intern mode, so in intern mode, it is just a quick and an efficient way to finish your course. Now, we do understand that some of you are working and you're preparing simultaneously, and some of you have just started. So even if you might not be an intern, you might be a post intern, but you can still utilize the intern mode and finish your course before the exam. Now, in the intern mode, the number of videos have come down to 540 hours as compared to almost 800 hours of video in the main video, in the main edition 6 videos. So there are two strategies which we are giving you, and you have to understand whichever one is more suitable for you, you stick to that. So if you can spend 4 hours of videos every day and 1 hour of questions every day, so 4 hours of video, 1 hour of question, you can finish your course using the intern mode in 120 days. Okay. For those who have slightly more time, if you do 6 hours of videos and 2 hours of MCQs, then you can finish your course in 60 days, right? And if you finish your course in 60 days, September, October, you're done with your course. So you're in time to give your INI CET exam also, and then do one more revision before the NEET exam. If you choose for the first plan where you want to finish it in 120 days, you'll finish by the end of December, and you leave yourself 20 days to revise for the NEET exam, right? So intern mode, please use it effectively, and if you do that, you can easily finish your course. Now, lots of students are asking questions that for short subjects, will revision videos only be enough? So this is what the team has done at the back end. The team has seen that which are the videos which you really need to watch, and which are the places where videos can be replaced by QBank modules. And if you just solve those representative questions, you will be good enough for that topic. So for short subjects, my recommendation is that you have two strategies. Either follow the intern mode or stick to the revision videos and MCQ discussion videos. And even if you do that much, you will at least not leave that subject completely blank. You would have done reasonable amount of that subject, and you'll not miss out on the simple questions which are asked from that subject. Dr. Bas, your thoughts, and can you please elaborate on the schema part and how to approach that?
Yeah, so absolutely, especially for what Dr. Rohan sir has said about short subjects and leaving them out. Short subjects are essential to crack the exam. You cannot skip them out completely. The smart way of approaching it is like what Rohan sir has said. If you have time, go through the intern mode, because intern mode has given you the selected videos that you need to watch for the short subjects. Also interspersed with them are the question bank modules that you need to do to understand the complete subject in hand. Now, if you do not have time for the short subject or a particular short subject, then obviously you need to do the revision videos and MCQ discussion videos. So at the end of the day, the takeaway here is that revision videos and MCQ discussion videos is this holy grail for everybody. Everybody should do it, especially for the people who are not doing anything for that subject. If you want to do a little more than that, then you will definitely need to do the intern mode, because it's a strategic mode where it has selected a few videos and question banks related to the relevant topics of the subject. Now, coming to the schema. Now, schema is this beautiful mind map of the important high yield areas of the subjects. Now, whenever you start reading a subject, everything seems important when you start talking about it and learning about it. Whether you watch the regular videos or you watch or read the notes, everything seems important. Now, they are important. It's not that they are not important, but schema basically segregates them in terms of how frequently questions were asked from a particular area of that subject. Now, looking at schema, you will get an idea of what are the topics that are frequently asked, and you are definitely to do them and not to miss out on them. Because, for example, say supracondylar humerus fracture in orthopedics is a very relevant and important topic. So the schema will show you what are the kind of questions that they have been asking in supracondylar humerus fracture, segregated in terms of the subtopics of that topic. For example, in supracondylar humerus fracture, the schema will show you that a lot of questions have come from a compartment syndrome. A lot of questions have come from median nerve injury or anterior interosseous nerve injury. So you get an idea like that. Now, this is very important, especially for people appearing for INI set exam, because INI set exam has a history or a tendency to ask a lot of previously asked questions / topics. So if you're targeting INI set exam, it is essential for you to go through schema. I will not say mandatory, but it will definitely help you understand what are the topics that are frequently being asked, because INI set has a tendency to ask repeated topics, not necessarily the questions, but definitely the repeated topics. And once you click on that schema topic, you will get the kind of questions that have been asked from that topic across all the subjects. For example, if the question was asked about foot drop, the schema topic will show you the questions that have been asked, or the MCQs that have been asked from orthopedics as well as anatomy, to help you understand how they can approach this topic in terms of any subject. So that is what schema is, and I think you can find some value of using it, particularly for INI set exam.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Not
absolutely.
only
So,
showing the important topics, it is also linked with the MCQs on those topics. So you can just quickly go through it, and that will give you a completion of doing the MCQs also of the high yield topics. Yes, Dr. Rohan.
so as you can see, the schema, you can either select a topic or you can select them exam wise as well. So a lot of students have been asking whether previous year questions are present in Marrow or not. So Marrow does have previous year questions, and we've just made it easy for you to identify those previous year questions through the schema option. and you can just filter out the year when you want to solve the question, and you can get those topics and you can solve all the questions related to it. Now, as Dr. Abbas said, this is specifically useful for the INI CET exam, because in INI CET, the same topics tend to get repeated. So if you use schema and if you cover up the anatomy behind that topic, the physiology behind that topic, the surgery, the medicine, the patho behind that, you will be in a very good zone to solve these questions when they're asked in the INI CET exam. Okay. So that is regarding schema. We will address your queries. If you have any questions regarding schema, just put them in the chat box and we will address them towards the end of the session again.
One more thing I
Now,
would like to add here with the previous year questions, what sir has said is all the faculties have basically recalled all the questions of almost last 3 to 4 years of exams. They are all on YouTube. The questions are there in schema, and the questions are there in the previous year questions in the question bank. But if you want to listen to the faculty explaining why the answer is like that, there are videos available on YouTube. You can watch it on 2x if you have time.
And moreover, I think all of us are going to put those recall questions in the MCQ discussion also. That is why the stress is more that you should watch the MCQ discussion, as well as the revision videos also contain all those important topics. So please watch that also.
so you people are again asking how to use the schema. So supposing I am a person who's preparing for the INI CET exam, my target is November INI CET. What I would do is I would go in the schema section and I will filter out, I will put the filter for the AIMS exams and the INI CET exam, and I will get all the topics. Okay. So with this topic list, I can create a topic list for all 19 subjects. Some of you have been asking me, how do we get those important topics? How do we make a list of those important topics? Right? So you can just use schema to make a list of those important topics for all 19 subjects. And you can just revise these topics. You make sure you revise them. You keep on ticking them so that you make sure that you haven't left out any of these important topics. If you are unable to open schema, then you probably haven't updated your app. Please go to the Play Store or the Apple Store and update your app, and I'm sure you'll be able to open up the schema part. Okay. Now, very important thing, I guess bulk of your chat box queries are, when are the MCQ discussion videos being released? The MCQ discussion videos will be released by the end of September. All the subjects would be live on the app. And as Manisha ma'am said, it will be a conscious effort by all faculties to include the updates and to include previous year questions in these MCQ discussions. So make sure that you watch them, because not only will the previous year questions be covered, but we'll also try to cover how to solve these questions, right? So, Neeraj, you're saying there are 1,936 topics in schema for the last 4 years. Absolutely. Now, for the big subjects, don't you think there'll be 100 important topics from which questions are asked? So, when you see that, it's actually a lot of overlap. As Dr. Abbas said, for each given topic, also there are subdivisions in schema. So, out of the 1,936, it will effectively boil down to not more than 1,000 topics, or even 900 topics, which I think so you can easily solve questions for in the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it looks more because it is divided like that for your for simplicity of approach. Like I said, supracorneal humerus fracture, for example, has been divided in terms of complications of compartment syndrome, nerve injury, myositis ossificans, only so that you can enlist everything that you have read, so that you should know that you have not missed out on everything. But once you start reading or solving the questions, you will realize 3 or 4 schema topics are discussed together. So essentially those 1,000 schema topics will become 300, 350 for you. Okay, so don't be worried about the number. You start doing it and then you will realize how fast you can burn through them.
Yeah, I mean, that is just another mode to tell you what are the high yield topics, just so that it will save your time finding them out. That will give you a hint that these are the topics, and since they are linked with MCQs also, you will end up solving the MCQs of those topics also. I mean, that is not the only thing that you are going to rely on, but yes, that is a very important feature and a very wonderful feature which you can use according to your requirement.
And if you're
And the
not tech
number,
savvy and you don't want to use it, if you're not tech savvy, don't want to use it, don't worry about it. MCQ discussion videos and
yes,
revision videos will cover everything that is relevant for you.
yes, and you have the question bank, do the question bank, give the grant test. In fact, this time the grant tests have been upgraded. There are 3 grant tests per month. And yes, when you ask that how many grant tests should we be giving now, at this time, giving grant tests at least once in 10 days or maximum in 20 days should be good. So we have 3 grant tests now. One is for INI CET and 2 for NEET PG. So give all of them in their scheduled time and see your ranking whether it is going up or not.
So a lot of you are asking when will the soft copy notes of the revision videos be released? So the PDFs would be updated by October. By October mid is what we've been told. By October mid, all the subject PDFs would be updated on the app. Whether or not PDFs would be sent, that is something on which a decision has not been taken till now. If the decision is taken, then for all the existing users, you will get PDFs for that, but the decision on that has not yet been taken. Now, I guess a bulk of your questions are focusing around the 3 big subjects. Firstly, medicine. So, Dr. Abbas, would you like to address how should they prepare medicine, considering that it's the largest subject in all 19, and they have limited time left.
Right. So medicine subject is essentially a subject that is an amalgamation of many subjects. You don't think medicine is an independent subject, first of all. So if you have been half decent or okay with pharmacology, pathology, microbiology, your physiology, you have essentially covered most of the topics in medicine. And what Dr. Rakesh has beautifully done in his medicine videos is he has taken the information from all these subjects, brought them together, and then given you context and relevance of what is the connection between all of them. So if you're not done with those other subjects, that is the time you usually find medicine difficult. And in case you do, we have multiple options at your disposal. There are 2 very important options that you can use to cover medicine faster. We have Med 80 that is going nowhere, that is there for you to consume. 80 hours of medicine, I think, is just a bargain because the amount of marks that come from medicine is enormous, number 1. And number 2, the revision videos and MCQ discussion videos that will be there for medicine, they will definitely cover the important and relevant topics. You can go ahead and do them faster, but obviously you will not be covering it completely. But if you are going to take that liberty of not doing it completely, I think the best way to go forward is either do Med 80 or do the revision and MCQ discussion videos. And not to forget missing out on the question bank. Question bank is essential tool to learn or master any subject. Okay, so if you have done the question bank, everything in Med 80 and revision videos and MCQ discussion videos will become easy for you. So 2 important sources are question bank number 1 or Med 80 with it, question bank or revision videos and MCQ discussions with video with it to finish medicine faster. Or if you have been the smart one who has started doing medicine since 3rd year, then there is no stopping you.
So I feel yes. So Med 80, utilize it well. That is something with which you can cover medicine very quickly. Or you can, if you don't want to use Med 80, you can use the intern mode where some of the videos have been replaced by QBank modules, and you can finish medicine quickly in that manner. As for surgery, the content, I understand that the notes which you've got this time, they make the subject look much bulkier than it actually is. So trust me, there are just 4 or 5 hours of addition in the entire surgery which has happened over all the 70 odd modules which I had earlier, right? Some of the modules have been split into 2 because the duration of that module was extending beyond 90 minutes. So that is why the number of modules have increased. So please don't be scared. If you don't need to watch edition 6 surgery videos, if you watched edition 5 surgery videos, just watch the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos once. Revision videos are 9 hours of surgery revision videos, and MCQ discussion videos, that will be enough to cover up all the updates regarding surgery. I understand the other major subject where a lot of changes have happened is obs gynae, and Sakshi ma'am has made a conscious effort to tell you which all videos you really need to watch, and for which videos you can just rely on edition 5. And I'm sure in her revision videos and MCQ discussion videos, she will make sure that she covers most of the updates. Okay. Again, if you are unable to see the revision videos on your app, please update your app. All the revision videos have been released. Update your app. And we've told you by mid-October, the soft copy notes of the revision videos will be available in app. Ma'am, another very common thing, we know the counseling has got delayed. Students are extremely concerned, and we don't want them to land up like last year where they hardly had any time to prepare once the counseling got over. So, what do you think should be their approach if they've not, if they've got a rank in NEET PG? How should they approach the next few months?
See, it is very reasonable that if you have got if you are getting your desired seat, if you are sure that at your rank you will get the desired seat, then in that case you can just forget everything and you can have fun. But if you are not very sure, you are plus minus that you might get, you might not get, then it is always a better idea to start preparing now. And if you have got bored of preparing, there are other things as we have just highlighted. You can just watch the revision videos for change, and you can go for MCQ discussion, you can see the schema, the important topics, you can continue doing the custom modules questions, so that you keep up with your preparation. Just one more last time, don't give up, because this is for life. And maybe the counseling might continue till till mid of Jan, and by that time if you realize that no, I'm not getting the seat of my choice, what then? You hardly will be left with any time if the date of the exam is announced around that same time. So yes, if you're not very sure, go ahead, start preparing, and one more time, just last time, give your best.
Right. So, like ma'am has said that please start preparing if you don't have a great rank, because there were a lot of students who were, caught unaware that the exam was held immediately after the counseling got over. So you don't want to be in that situation, and then you'll just be on Twitter and you'll be trying to get the exam postponed. So rather than doing that, it's better to start studying now. And I know it's not easy. You'll be in a very difficult frame of mind, because your rank is somewhere in between. But my recommendation there is just small consistent efforts daily you can start putting in, and gradually your the time for which you can sit and study would improve, and you'll be able to get into the groove of things. But please just don't waste your time. These are very important days which are not going to come back. So if your rank is somewhere in between, start studying. That would be our advice. Okay. Dr. Abbas, you are the main person when it comes to motivation. So how to keep going and how to get rid of FOMO?
Well, I would just like to add to what Dr. Rohan sir and Dr. Manisha madam has already said here. In terms of continuing your preparation, you see, this is not rocket science. You have your rank in front of you. Just compare it with last year's allotment. If you can comfortably get what you desire, you are in the green, right? You don't have to worry too much about it. You can just relax, go on a holiday. But if you're not clear whether you will get the seat or not, because it's in a tricky zone, might as well sit down and give your best, because who knows, your rank may improve and then you will probably get the best college for that specialty that you're seeking, or you can even change your specialty. So this is a time that if you put in right now, you will thank yourself for probably the next 50 to 60 years. So just do yourself a huge favor. It's not a lot of time. It's just 3-4 months. That's all. Sit down and do things consistently. Now, how to keep going, right? There are a lot of distractions. The counseling is around the corner. The council is getting postponed. You will be putting in your seat merit or seat rosters for the counseling, and you'll be attending the counseling, how to keep studying. I think this is something that you must have been used to by now, considering over the 2 to 3 years in the past how the exam pattern has evolved. The exam has been postponed, rescheduled, a lot of surprises, a lot of shocks have come up, and all of you have been very resilient. You have survived that, you have seen, and the worst is over. Now things are clear. We know when the exam will be, and we know what is going to happen. We know when the counseling will start. So there is not a lot of confusion here. You have clarity, definitely much better than compared to your seniors who were confused and were uncertain about the future. So use this clarity, be relaxed, and try to put in a few hours every day to slowly start picking up momentum. Obviously there will be days you will not be interested in studying. You will be bored, you'll be tired, you will be exhausted. Those are the days that you relax, or just you do something different for a change. Either do the revision videos or the MCQ discussion videos, or just sit back and go through your bookmarks. At the end of the day, make sure that you're using every hour of your day efficiently towards the target and the goal that you have set for yourself. Don't just sit idle and waste time. And FOMO is something that you will find when you're online. I've been on a social media blackout for a very long time, and I've realized it actually has made me a happier person. I am relaxing more, I am operating better, my patients are even more happier with me. So try to cut down on social media, especially just around the corner when the exam is so near. You have no idea what can trigger you, and there are a lot of people who are done with their preparation, who are in their post graduation, who are in their residency, and they're just out there having fun on social media, or just ranting it out. And then you might get the wrong impression about your strategy and about your plan, and then you will start doubting yourself. So avoid social media altogether. Be very focused in how you use your social media. Go to the Marrow group if you have a doubt, or the teachers group if you have a doubt, and otherwise just shut it down and focus on your goal. Once the exam is over, you will realize that you have missed out on nothing. In fact, being away from social media has possibly been the best thing in your preparation, even more important than studying for your exam.
Yes, it is
So
very
as Dr.
important to
Abbas
keep
is,
your mind
yes,
calm.
please, yes.
Yes, it is very important to keep your mind calm. It is very important that you have all the time positive thoughts, and that is not what social media will give you. So yes, be with yourself. Just focus on what you're doing, just one moment at a time. And whatever subjects, as I've told earlier also, do not extend the time whatever you have allotted for one subject. So that will give you a lot of confidence that you have finished many subjects, even if you have not been able to complete whole of it. And also whenever you are doing revision, to keep up the momentum and to keep up your confidence, mix short subjects and big subjects. Don't think that you will do all the big subjects first. Always, it is always a better idea start with the short subject, so that you will, in no time you will feel that you are through with one subject, and then you can rest of the time you can mix short and big subjects, and always keep your focus only on that particular hour. So that will keep your mind calm, and when your mind is calm, your productivity increases tremendously. So this is the time, no matter uh, what happens, don't lose your focus at all.
So as Dr. Abbas and ma'am have said that, two very important things. One is to keep yourself motivated, and the other is the FOMO factor. Now, again, I would like to re-emphasize that until unless you have a very specific goal in mind, you will not be able to achieve it. So the first thing which I would do, and what I used to do when I was preparing for any exam, whether it was a college exam or an entrance exam, I used to write down what my aim is, right? And I used to hide it so that my parents couldn't see it, nobody could see it. I just used to hide it at some place. And this aim should always be higher than what you actually uh, desire, right? So if you're desiring a top 500 rank, write I want a top 100 rank, because then only you will push yourself to achieve that. Now, you need to understand that we are addressing a very varied group, right? There are some who just want to qualify, whereas there are some who want to get a very good rank. So, first of all, define what you want to do, and that would make things much easier for you, and planning also much easier for you. Number one. Number two, take a day or two to plan out your studies, and don't look at the plan. I mean, of course, you'll have to see what you have to achieve that day, but the broad plan you don't change on a daily basis. Okay, there are lots and lots of people giving advice, and you need to understand that there are 100 ways to achieve success, but you just need to walk on one path. You don't need to walk on all 100 paths, otherwise you'll end up reaching nowhere. So choose which is the correct path for you, have the conviction to walk on that path, and don't get deterred by minor bumps or potholes in the road. Okay, just keep on walking. Analyze your goal or analyze your plan every month or every 40 days and see if you need to make any changes. But please walk on your path. Don't be concerned about what others are doing. That is very important. That is the biggest reason why FOMO happens, because you keep on peeping into other people's preparation. Focus on your preparation, and you'll do well in the exam. I guess we've already addressed this. You have edition 5 notes, but you've upgraded to edition 6. We've already told you, just watch the revision and the MCQ discussion videos. Keep your edition 5 notes on the side. If there is any addition there, you just add them to your edition 5 notes and you keep on revising them. For plan B users, ma'am, what should be their approach? Plan B users who don't have access to the revision and the MCQ discussion videos.
See, as I've told earlier also, from wherever you have done, whatever notes you have, please follow that. It will be much easier to retain as well as revise what you have already done earlier. And yes, you have the question bank. As we have told you, you have so many things in the question bank. You have the test, you have the grand test, you have the schema, you have so many custom modules, so many options of using the custom modules very effectively. So yes, the notes you give 60% of the time, the rest of the time, 40% of the time, give to your questions, and this ratio will flip in your last month of revision. That time you will be giving more time to your questions. So questions you can use very effectively of the Marrow, but yes, does not mean that you will not be doing your notes from wherever you have done. Please follow that. Please follow that.
And again, you need to understand that if you're a plan B user, you might not be able to solve the entire Q bank, because if you've just started, you might not be able to do all modules. And which is where the schema factor comes into play, because schema would tell you which are the topics which have been asked in various exams, and you can't afford to miss out the MCQs of those topics. And if you're using plan B as your primary source, you would need to read all the explanations, because they are your de facto notes, and you would need to refer to them to gain knowledge about those frequently asked topics in the exam. Okay, and
yes,
again,
and
plan B
yeah,
is
here
what
they can also use pearls here. Dr. Rohan, the pearls also, they are concise tabulated form, so you can use for any topic. You can just have a quick look at the pearls, and that will also tell you a lot, because in pearls there are so many questions around those small pearls. They're very relevant. Yes, Dr. Rohan, please continue.
Yes, so that would be my advice, and at least push yourself to do 5 to 7 modules minimum a day, if not more, if you are just using plan B as your primary source. Dr. Abbas, GTs, a lot of students have been asking about how to improve their GT score. What would be your advice for them?
Yeah, so I will just add to the plan B users one more thing. You have to understand that the question bank is designed in a way that it will give you information from A to Z. So the information doesn't come in chunks or is out of context when you do the question bank. So question bank, I have been telling this again and again, I'll tell this again. It's a learning tool. It's not a testing tool. So when you start doing the question bank, you will realize the information that is being asked to you initially is very basic, and they will teach you about it in the explanation. And then the question becomes a little advanced, will give you more information about that topic. And by the time you finish the module, you have understood the topic completely. And that is by design. So use the question bank very effectively in understanding the topics that you're not familiar with, particularly if your whole preparation depends on plan B. free. It is a beautiful plan. Question bank is a wonderful tool to clear the exam. Now coming to improving your GT scores, number one, and number two, how to review GTs. These are the two common questions that we are being asked about GT. So to improve GT scores, you need to understand why your scores are poor. All right. For that, I have mix strategy, MICS, and I have actually talked about this and I've made a video about this in detail. But I'll just quickly review this in strategy with you. You need to understand where you're faltering or where you're failing. Is the question that you have answered wrong testing your memory, that is M, testing your information, that is I, testing your concept, that is C, or is it an exam skill error that you have made, S? So please understand whether the question that you have gotten wrong was because of your memory failure, was it information failure, was it concept failure, or was it skill failure? Now, once you have understand that, let me give an example. Say if it was a factual question, what is the most commonly injured nerve in supracondylar humerus fracture? And instead of saying anterior trochleus nerve, you said radial nerve. That's a factual error. You have made a mistake here. Your memory was weak, so you need to revise that. So you first identify that first. And then information failure, whether your information was wrong, whatever you have learned was wrong, written wrong, or copied wrong from your notes. If that was wrong, correct it. Or if the concept that you've understood was wrong, correct that concept. Or if it was your exam skill error, some of the times you'll see questions that are asking all except, all are true except, all of the following are false except. So if your understanding of the language of the question was wrong, it's a skill problem. So how do you fix this? Memory problem is very simple. Go back to it, read it again and again, make a post-it, stick on the wall. Information was wrong, maybe you have learned it from the wrong source, go and review it in the textbook, add the correct information, correct it. If it was a concept error, sit down, watch the video, understand the concept and get it right once and for all to solve it forever. And if it was a skill problem, it is definitely because you're not practicing more and more GTs. If you practice more and more GTs, your ability to understand the mindset of the examiner becomes good. So that is how you solve the skill problem. So MICS is something that you should remember whenever you get a question wrong. Now, the second question that we keep getting about GTs is how to review GTs. Yeah, there are 300 questions and we do not have time to review all of them. Obviously, you will not have time to review all of them. So the first thing you should do is to review the wrong questions. So once you review the wrong questions, 40-50% of the GT will be reviewed and you will be confident that you have at least addressed the problem areas first. Now, if you have time, remainder questions, you can split it in the remaining days of the week before you give another grand test. Say 5 questions, 10 questions, 30 questions every day, and it will not take a lot of time. What happens is you sit down and you start reading everything in great detail, and that is where your time gets wasted. So first, review the grand test, wrong questions. Next, if you have time, chunk out the remaining questions to review over the days preceding the next GT that you give, and make it a habit that just before the next GT that you give, review the previous GT questions so that you are familiar with the kind of mistakes you made in the previous exam so that you don't make them again.
So my strategy for reviewing the GT is a bit different, and this I am sharing my advice from when I used to revise these tests for my USMLE exam. So as Dr. Abbas said, that if it was a factual problem where I made a mistake in the GT, I would just quickly make a note of that fact and I would put it in my 20th notebook, or I would put it, as a stick on somewhere so that I could go through it again. If it was a silly mistake where I know I knew the answer, but maybe I was in a hurry, or maybe I didn't read the question properly, then I would not read the explanation of that question. I would save time and not read the explanation. I would only read the explanation of those topics or those questions where there is a new concept which is being discussed, or if it's a new fact which I need to make a note of. Okay, so those are the only ones which I would read, and that is how you can finish your GT revision. And my advice is that finish your GT review on the day when you're doing the GT. Don't leave it for any other day because you'll never come back to it. That's what I've seen happening. So it's better to finish it on that day. That would be my advice. Now, one more thing which I want to highlight here is that GTs is your playing area where you can practice, and that's like your net practice, okay? And there you need to be more aggressive in certain GTs and less aggressive in certain GTs, and you need to finalize your strategy for the actual exam. Now, sometimes what I've seen is that students tell us that I was getting a top 100 rank in GTs or top 200 rank in GTs, but on in the exam I've got a 4,000 rank. Why? Because, sir, on the day of the exam, I was extremely nervous. In the GTs, I was attempting 180, 190 questions. But in the actual exam, I just attempted 170 questions. Right? So those kind of things you should not happen, provided you are appearing for adequate number of GTs and you iron out your strategy. These mistakes will not happen on the day of the exam. So that is where you practice that how many questions should I attempt, which questions to leave, how to approach the question. All these things you need to do when you are appearing for grand tests.
Yes, and I would also like to add on here that whenever you're giving GTs, especially in the last month, always keep the time of the GTs as the time of your actual exam. And also try to change your circadian rhythm in the last 2 months so that your maximum productive hour is during your exam time. That so that you are, when you give your exams, most of the students say that we felt that we were just giving another GT, so it was not feeling as if they are giving the exam, and how calm you are during the exam will make a lot of difference. So yes, as Dr. Rohan has very beautifully pointed out, that you can use it as a method to see what actually suits you the best, how you can improve your scores in your actual exam.
Okay, how to reduce the number of bookmarks? So advice from toppers usually is that everyone, by the time they finish their Q bank, they had around 2,000 or 3,000 bookmark questions, because initially you tend to bookmark more. Okay, but when you are revising, then you are just revising the bookmark questions and the newly made questions. So whenever a new question is made, it will highlight that in that module there is one new question as well. So when you're revising the Q bank, do the the new questions and your bookmark questions. And again, if the bookmark question is a factual question which you would bookmark, just note down that fact in your 20th notebook or as a post-it, and you remove that bookmark. If it was a silly mistake bookmark which you've done, and if you've got it right this time, remove the bookmark. Right? If it was a concept based thing and this time your concept is clear, remove that bookmark. So what students have typically told us is that in your first revision, you can easily bring down the number of bookmarks by almost 50 to 60%. And that should be your target when you're revising. You bring down bookmarks by 50 to 60%. How to approach revisions? Dr. Abbas, your views. Students are asking minimum how many revisions should be done, ideally how many revisions should be done, and what should be done in the revision.
Well, the best answer for how many revisions should be done is as many as possible, because that is the thing that will help you answer questions fast on the exam, be confident on the exam, rule out the options on the exam, and eventually get the best rank. So as many as possible. And this is the reason you see toppers who have been finishing their subject early on and then just focus on revisions again and again before the exam. So as many as possible. But if you are short of time and you've not started your preparation early, so at least get 2 or 3 revisions in. And these revisions, they have to be very focused, very precise, not all over the place. You have to be very careful with your time, because if you're not, then you will be spending the same amount of time as you have spent in the first reading. In the beginning itself, Dr. Rohan has given you the timeline of when should be the hard stop for your preparation. For people preparing for NEET PG 2023, whatever your means is, whatever the tool you're using to prepare, whatever you're reading, just try to finish it by November INI set. If not, worst case scenario, finish it by December 15. So for that, you have to pick up pace now. You have to just quickly, swiftly burn through the subjects. Don't hold on to them longer, because one subject, if you spend more time, you're definitely going to miss out on other subjects. The aim is to quickly go through the subjects, because the first reading either way is as useless as not reading. Now, once you're done with the first reading by mid-December latest, you still have a month's time or a little more than that to quickly go through revision. And when you're sitting down to revise, please keep this one thing in your mind: you will not remember everything, but it is the questions that you will do that will help you remember the things or help you focus on the things that are asked on the exam. When you practice the questions, that is the time the importance of the things that you're reading are highlighted. So just reading the notes without any context will not help you remember them, but by doing the questions you will get context to why you need to remember the bishop score, or why you need to remember this nerve that is injured, because the questions are being asked. So I feel at least 2 to 3 revisions minimum, and the best way to revise is to quickly read the notes and go do the questions to understand what are the relevant points of the subject that you have read that are asked on your exam. So this is my approach for revision. What do you want to add, madam and sir?
See, what I feel is once you have the timeline in your mind that you have only 1 month for revision or 1.5 months, or for the final revision, you have only 10 days or 20 days, and then you have in your hand that these are the options that I have, and again you know that you cannot exceed the time, you automatically will know what all you can do in that limited time, whether you can just do the high yield topics, whether you can just do the important previous year questions, whether you can just do the revision videos. So depending upon how much revision, how much time you have for revision, once you know that this is the exact time I have, these many days I have for a subject, and this is the notes and this is the questions that I have to do, you will automatically know that what are the most important things that I have to do, I cannot leave behind, and rest of the things, even if left behind, is just okay. So you just have
Okay.
to get started. Once you start, you will automatically know. You take one step, the next step you will see automatically.
Right. Let me just categorize revision for all of you so that you can choose which path you want to take. And like I said, everyone would like to do revisions differently. So the ideal way to revise a subject would be to read the notes which you've already made, to do the bookmark questions and the new questions which have been added to the Q bank, and to do the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos. This is the ideal which you can do for each subject. But you might not have time for each subject to do all these 4 things. Okay. If you don't have time to do all 4 things for each subject, then the second best way to do it is to do the to watch the MCQ discussion, revision videos, and do the bookmarked questions and the new questions. That is the middle path. Okay. And the least preferred method, if you still don't have time, just watch the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos alone. Now, all three are acceptable ways of doing revision. You have to see for which subject, how much time you have, and how much you can spare, and what kind of revision you can do. Those who've made a 20th notebook, a lot of things get simplified because a lot of your bookmarks would already been added in the 20th notebook, and you'll be able to revise them quickly. Okay. That is how I would approach revision. I've told you 3 options for that. That is one. At least one revision has to be done, and from my side, ideal is if you can do 3 revisions. Fine. Now, another thing which has been circulating a lot, lots of messages regarding that, is first aid. Now, first aid is a book which is used for USMLE. First aid part 1 has just first and second year subjects, and they have just given what they think are important topics for the USMLE exam. They've given brief snippets about, and they've given snippets about those topics in the first aid book. It will cover all your first and second year subjects barring forensic, but you need to understand that book is incomplete until and unless you add more knowledge to it or you add more points to it. So if your exam is, if you're preparing for the INI CET exam in November, where you have 2 months, Do you think you have time to add stuff to first aid and then revise it? Rather than that, I would focus on the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos. But if you're preparing for next year's INI CET exam, yes, first aid would be a very good resource. I have used first aid for my USMLE exam, and it would be a good resource because you have 7 or 8 months and you can add stuff to it, and you can quickly revise those first 2 year subjects within a matter of 4 or 5 days before the exam. So see whether it is going to be useful for you at this stage or not. Don't just fall in the FOMO trap and just get that book. It is, mind you, it's only for the first 2 year subjects. Okay. So that is my approach to revision, my 2 cents regarding first aid, especially if you're preparing for INI CET in November. Okay.
Not only limited to first aid, it can be any resource that comes out right now. You will see a lot of marketing, you will see a lot of new products coming out. You don't have to jump on any of them. Whatever you have right now with you is more than enough, is more than sufficient. Historically, most of the toppers have been consistently using the question bank and Marrow for success, and there are enough evidence that it has worked for them. Why will it not work for you? New products will keep coming, new books will keep coming. You can't afford to buy everything, you can't afford to read and revise everything. So whatever you have right now with you is more than enough.
Okay. Now, few more questions which have come up during the session. Number one, whether to watch the video at 1.5x, 2x, 2.5x, or whatever. You need to understand that by watching it fast doesn't mean that you're going to assimilate that knowledge very quickly as well. So watch it at the speed where you can understand and assimilate the concepts. Okay, just because everyone else is watching 2x, or everyone is posing a challenge that you can't watch Dr. Rakesh's video on 2x and I'll prove them wrong by watching it on 2x, is not going to serve you any good, right? So watch it at the speed where you are comfortable with it. Okay.
There are people who have watched the videos in 2x and they have finished half of the syllabus, and now they are recollecting and saying, sir, we don't understand anything, we don't remember anything. So please understand, this is your golden period. Whatever hours or time you're putting in right now should be only once. You're not going to watch videos again and again and again. So watch it once, watch it with intention and dedication, and that should be fine. Whether it's 1x, 1.5x, 2x, but whatever works for you with the teacher that you're watching.
Okay, one more question. Everyone is asking that if I just watch revision videos and MCQ discussion videos, is it enough? Well, this is what I tell, at least for surgery, I'll tell you this, that if you watch MCQ discussion and revision videos, you will be able to answer 70 to 75% of the questions, not 100% questions, right? To answer 100% or nobody can answer 100%, but to answer 85, 90% questions, you need to have in-depth knowledge. But for 70%, if that is your aim, then MCQ discussion plus revision videos are enough, along with the Q bank.
So you need to understand that revision videos have been reduced in time quite tremendously. If the videos were of 60 hours, now the revision videos are of around 9 to 10 hours. So definitely something will not be exactly like how you have seen the videos. So in the revision videos, definitely all the high yield, all the important, all the new updates you will get, but the deep explanation part, and if you're looking for each and every point that was taught in the videos, it is simply not possible. But yes, revision videos and MCQ videos at this time will brush up your complete knowledge of whatever you have done in that subject in very little time, and that will be a very wonderful mode of revision which seeing which you can answer a lot of questions. Yes, as such told, maybe 70%, maybe in some topics you will be able to answer even more than that, but minimum that much you will be able to answer just by revision and just by MCQ discussion.
So for short subjects, you can answer more than 70% by watching the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos as well. Again, before we end, one more thing which I want to emphasize. The ideal way to do a subject is to watch the videos, read the notes, solve the Q bank, watch the MCQ discussion, watch the revision. That is ideal, right? That is what the topper or the bulk of the toppers are going to do or have been doing since second or third year. But if you cannot do that, Then the middle path is you see the videos of whichever edition you have, do the selected QBank modules, in short, do the intern mode. So you will do the intern mode plus the revision videos and the MCQ discussion. That is the middle path, which is why the intern mode has been released. And the path which, if you're about to leave a subject, you might as well just do the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos, so you can at least solve 70% of the 60 to 70% of the questions. So don't leave any subject. That is our advice to you. If you hardly have any time, just do the MCQ discussion and the revision videos of that subject. Okay. Marrow Links Facebook group. There is a group, Marrow Links, on Facebook. If you have any academic query for any faculty, you can join that group. It is free for all. Even if you're from any other platform, you can join the group and you can ask us your queries. Okay. Another question is how to make a list of important topics and questions. We told you about schema option. So in schema, you can just filter out. There is a filter for various years. And when you filter it out, you might see 1900 topics. But you need to understand those topics have been subdivided. In reality, it would just be around 300 or 400 broad topics. And you can easily solve them in the next few months leading up till the NEET exam. Any other questions, ma'am and sir, which you would like to address?
I think we have covered everything that we decided to talk about. And I think we have, looking at the comment section, I think there is no question that we have not answered other than how to prepare for 2024. I think it's too early to talk about that now.
So if
Yes,
you're
I can
working...
also see some students asking how to maintain mental health and how to, sometimes it becomes very overwhelming. Yes, definitely it will, because the exam that you're giving is not a very simple exam. So all that you can do is just focus on that particular hour. You have already made your timetable. You have already, you know your goal. Just when you are just focusing on every hour, you know that you have so much to do. You hardly have any time to think about whether you will be able to clear or not, whether you, what others are doing. And any moment you have any negative, if you will be following that, you will not have time to even think about any negative or anything. If at all you are having any negative thought at any particular time, immediately replace it with a positive thought. Reaffirm that yes, you can do it, you will do it, and just start with the whatever you are scheduled to do that particular moment. Just forget rest everything. Just keep your focus on that particular moment.
So if you're working and you're preparing, please use the intern mode. We've shared 2 strategies with you. Again, I'm highlighting this, that if you follow a 120-day strategy, then you just need to put in 4 hours every day. So with work, you can easily do that and you can finish your course in 120 days. But if you push yourself a little bit extra and you can put in 6 hours every day, then you can finish your course in 60 days and leave yourself a month and a half to revise as well. Okay. Again, for short subjects, if you're not finding time, at least do the revision videos and the MCQ discussion videos. I would re-emphasize that point. To keep oneself motivated, I would again reiterate that if you have a plan and if you are sticking to the plan, if you're ticking off your targets, then that would give you positive reinforcement and that would push you to do better. One more advice to all of you is that there is still time till January. Okay. There is enough time to start now and crack the exam. You need to have that belief in yourself. And number 2, please don't peak too early, because then you'll burn out right before the exam. You don't want that to happen as well. So gradually, consistent efforts on a daily basis would yield better results than erratic efforts. So one day you're studying for 10 hours, next day you study for 10 hours, and then 2 days you're out. You don't study even for 2 or 3 hours. That should not happen. Consistent efforts would give better results to all of you. That is what is going to keep you sane as well. And as Dr. Abbas has mentioned, restrict your social media time as well. Dr. Abbas, any other points which you would like to add?
No, I think you have nicely summarized everything that we have been talking about for the past 1 hour. I think it is ideal to close this session because we don't want to keep them waiting.
Perfect. So, in the end, again, I would like to end with this very important poster, which I really like this mathematical calculation, and it very clearly says that if you put in small, consistent efforts with the right intent, you will achieve your result, right? You have to push yourself in the next few months, but gradually pace, right? Don't do it in an erratic manner, otherwise you will never be able to sustain for the next 5 or 6 months. So gradually increase your pace, gradually put in more hours, and your output would keep on improving, right? If you have any further queries which you would like to ask any one of us, you can reach out to us on our social media accounts or the Marrow Links group, where you can ask academic queries as well. Thank you very much. Once the video is published on YouTube, you can post your comments there and we'll be happy to answer them there as well. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am and sir, for sparing your valuable time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We are waiting for you to reach on the other side and share your revision and your success stories and strategies.
Thank you.